Hi there and welcome. My name is Dave and I run SUP Antics. This is a short video about how to prepare for a SUP tour over a weekend, and Yvonne and I used a very similar approach for our recent 2-day trip from Boroughbridge to York. For our recent trip, we just took daytime snacks and drinks, and we used the amazing pub at Linton Locks for evening meals and breakfasts. So if you're planning on cooking for yourself, then you'll need to take camp food as well. As we've previously covered how to plan a day trip in SUP Safe Video 8, we're going to concentrate on board selection, what equipment to take, and how to organise yourself efficiently for SUP touring. Even though the 2-day trip from Boroughbridge to York was not in a remote setting, there were no shops along the route apart from at Linton Locks, so we needed to plan ahead, especially around snacks and drinks. For those of you who haven't watched SUP Safe Video 8 previously, I will give a link in the YouTube video description. There's also some amazing videos online about SUP touring, and I'll also give some links in the YouTube video description. There's actually a fantastic 4-video series by SUP Boarder, so I'd really recommend you watching that. It's great. Okay, if we're ready, let's get started. Okay, let's run through the contents. So we'll look at what sort of board do I need. We'll look at what equipment do I need to take. We'll look at how to pack your bags for SUP touring. We'll look at how to load the bags on your board and how to make them secure. And we'll also look at how to change to travelling home mode, because the 2-day trip that Yvonne and myself did, we actually used public transport to actually return home. So there's some top tips for doing that. And finally, we'll look at some things that you can do to actually make sure that your trip goes really well. Okay, what sort of board do I need? Well, first off, we're going to look at touring specific boards. So these are boards that have got 2 sets of bungees. So bungees at the front, bungees at the rear, and that makes it ideal so we can balance up our loaded bags between the front and the rear, and that helps us to keep the board in trim. Okay, typically these boards are 11-foot 6 to 14-foot long, 27 to 31 inches wide, and 4 3/4 to 6 inch thick. The Can of Pros, well, ideal for touring and fast day paddling, great for carrying gear. It's got the front and rear bungees. Quite a few of them have extra handles, which means maneuvering a loaded board easier. So when we're launching and landing, and yeah, they're fast, stable, and efficient to paddle. The cons, they're not as maneuverable on the water as all-round boards. Yeah, and they can be heavy and cumbersome to carry, especially if we've got a long 14-foot touring board. And yeah, and they're more expensive than all-round boards. Okay, this time we're actually going to look at paddle boards with only a single front bungee. So these tend to be all-round boards. So these are typically 10-foot 6 to 12-foot long, 30 to 32 inches wide, and again 4 3/4 to 6 inches thick. So we're going to look at a couple of options for how we could use our existing all-round board. So this is an Aquaplanet Pace. It's got a set of front bungees, but it's got no rear bungees, but it's actually got 4 additional D-rings for attaching a kayak seat. So we can actually use the 2 rear D-rings along with the leash attachment point to actually add an extra set of bungees. And this is the setup that Yvonne has used a couple of times, and and again, it works really well. The second setup that we're going to look at is boards that haven't got the kayak seat D-rings. So this is my Sandbanks touring board. So it's only a day touring board, and it's only got one set of front bungees. So here we used the rear set of the D-rings for the bungees with the handle, and I used a piece of rope, tied some loops in it, took it from the bungee round the handle, and then this gave me an additional tying down point. And again, I've used this setup several times. It works really well. So if we look at the pros of this, well, yeah, it's great. We can use our existing board. I think I would say for light touring, if we're going to do a week's touring, then maybe this isn't the ideal setup, but it may work. Yeah, the second one, it's really easy to do the modifications. If you've got a kayak seat attachments, it's really easy. And again, if you haven't, there's still a good option. The kind of cons, some boards that are less than 4 3/4 inches thick, so there's quite a lot of 4-inch boards. I think by the time you've got yourself on your additional gear, I think the boards are actually going to be too bendy, so I wouldn't recommend SUP touring using a 4-inch board. Okay, and here's a few pictures of the boards in action. So this is Yvonne's Aquaplanet Pace, where she's used the rear D-rings for the kayak seat to create a rear bungee. And this is my Sandbanks Day Tourer, where I use the extra piece of rope through the handle to actually increase my bag carrying capacity. We've both used these setups on a couple of occasions, and they work really well. And I guess this is great if you're not sure about whether SUP touring is actually for you, but you want to give it a go. This gives you the options to use your existing board and see how it goes. And if you like it, then well, yeah, maybe you could actually plan on buying a touring board in the future. Or you may find for you this kind of setup really works, and there's actually no need to buy a touring specific board. Okay, what equipment do I need to take? Okay, there's a bit of a balance here between two opposing forces. So on one hand, there's I take too much stuff because I think I need absolutely everything, and then you ended up being loaded down on your board. It's difficult to paddle when you're portaging around locks, etc. You end up with lots of heavy bags to carry. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, I end up taking too much stuff, and maybe I feel a little bit cold in the evening because I decided not to bring my duvet jacket. There is a happy medium, and it may take a few trips to find out exactly what works for you. But hopefully this video will help you to actually get it right, hopefully the first time. Here are a few ideas that can help. So number one, take things that are versatile, so things that can do more than one job. So maybe for clothing, don't take big, heavy, thick layers, take several thin layers. So as it gets colder, you can put the thin layers on, and as it gets warmer, you can take the individual layers off. So that gives you a more versatile clothing system. Yeah, if there's several of you going, then yeah, you could share some gear. So maybe the pump, maybe some spares, the first aid kit, and yeah, the stove and pans and cooking equipment. If there's 5 of you going, you don't need to take 5 stoves. And yeah, if you're buying new equipment, then maybe choose a lightweight option, and obviously that can reduce the overall weight of your bags. Yeah, but this is a question that I always ask myself when I'm packing is, do I really need that full tube of toothpaste? So I think once you've got your equipment laid out and you're going to start packing, is just to ask yourself the question with each piece of equipment that you put in your bag is, do I really need that? SUP touring kit list. This is quite a long list, so I'm not going to go through every item, but I will leave a link in the YouTube video description for a download for the kit list. Any items in ball red are key safety items, and we'll discuss those in a bit more detail. I've been camping for quite a few years, so I've accumulated quite a lot of gear. If you're starting out, try and borrow gear from your friends to check it's for you before you start to buy all your own gear. There is also a large selection of second-hand gear available via eBay, which can be quite kind to your bank balance. Okay, we'll take a look at the list. So the first bit is personal SUP kit. So yeah, your leash. It's actually mega important. It's the connection between ourselves and a board, and it doesn't mean that if we fall off that we get disconnected from our board, which could actually result in a long swim. I found that the quick release belt is the safest and easiest to use. PFDs, I use both types. It depends on the situation that I'm paddling in. So if I'm paddling on graded rivers or on the sea where I can be a long distance from the shore, then I wear a foam PFD. If I'm on ungraded rivers, canals or lakes, then I use a flotation belt. So this is a pull toggle to inflate. I always carry a mobile phone in a waterproof case. It's my only means of communicating the emergency services. Joint shared kit. So this is the list that actually helps us reduce the amount of equipment that we're going to take, because we can share it with the other paddlers. So we definitely need a first aid kit, because we're actually doing quite a few things that we don't normally do. So we're cooking on a camp stove, we might be chopping things up with a knife, so we may get burnt or some small cuts, so we definitely need to take a first aid kit. Laminated map. So this is great for two reasons. Number one, it allows us to plot our progress through the day, so we know exactly how far away we are from the campsite. And if we do get into difficulty and we need to contact the emergency services, then we can actually give them a precise location of where we are. And the last thing for this slide is we need to leave details of our trip with a responsible person and the contact details for all the people on the trip. It's also great to leave our itinerary as well. So if things don't go to plan, then someone actually knows where we should be and who we're actually with, and then they can actually raise the alarm. Okay, SUP touring kit list continued. So we've got a recommendation for personal camping stuff, and we've got a personal kit list and a section about insurance and river licenses. Okay, if we do take any prescribed medication, then we definitely need to take it with us. It's probably best to put it in a waterproof bag, and it's super important that we let someone else know where it is and why we need it. This is just in case that maybe we're not feeling that great, and then someone can quickly diagnose what's wrong with you. Maybe you suffer from asthma and you're having an asthma attack and you're struggling to find your inhaler, then actually someone can be quick to react, find the inhaler, pass the inhaler over to you, and then it's kind of crisis avoided. And as I said previously, I will leave a link in the YouTube video description for a download for the kit list. How to pack your bags for your SUP tour. Okay, we're just going to go through a few things to consider. So it's going to be wet, so everything needs to be in a suitable dry bag. It's probably best to split your packing into several bags. So a day bag, so this is the thing that you can kind of grab really easily. So it's got the things that you're going to need quite a lot. So pack lunch, drinks, spare clothes, maybe you've got your mobile phone in there, etc. And then your main kit bag. So this is going to be where we're going to put our camping gear, evening clothes, shared equipment. So this has got things. So our main kit bag, we're not going to be wanting to get into it every 5 minutes. Things like that need to be in our day bag. And then, like on the trip that I did with Yvonne, we actually used a SUP Wheely bag so we could use public transport to return home. The other thing that makes it easier is if the dry bags that you're using are rucksacks or shoulder bags, it just makes it much easier to carry your equipment around. So when you're getting to and from your trip, and when you're also portaging around obstacles like locks, etc. So a suggestion for the bags, so your day bag, I use a 15 to 20 litre roll top rucksack or shoulder bag, and my main kit bag is a 60 litre roll top PVC rucksack. The other thing that I do is the equipment that I put in my main kit bag, I then further split up into lightweight waterproof bags. So I'll have a bag for my evening clothes, a bag for my toiletries, I've got a bag for my sleeping bag, etc. Okay, how to pack for your SUP tour continued. We're just going to take a quick look at the bags that I use. So first up is my day bag. This is a 15 to 20 litre PVC hold all. My main kit bag is a 60 litre roll top PVC rucksack, and the belt and the shoulder straps are actually attached with Velcro, so I can actually take them off, but I tend to leave them on all the time and just put the bag face down to keep the straps out of the way. And lastly, we talked about the wheel SUP bag. So this allows you to use public transport to get to and from your SUP tour. Okay, the next few slides we're going to look at how to pack for our individual bags. So the first one is our SUP Wheely bag. So here's my bag. I tend to put my spare fin and some rope and spare bungees in this bag. I then use a lightweight waterproof bag, fold my SUP bag up, squash all the air up, and then fasten it up, and then I get a nice small neat package to actually load onto my board. Okay, how to pack your day bag. So in my day bag I put the things that I'm going to need quite often throughout the day. So I've got my snacks, my drinks, I've got any meds that I take, I've got a warm hat and some gloves, and I've got my waterproof jacket and over trousers. So they go in my day bag. Here's my day bag packed. In here I've also got a first aid kit and a 4-person group shelter. How to pack your main kit bag. Okay, we'll just go through the individual items that I tend to put in smaller individual lightweight waterproof bags first. So this is my kind of evening clothes or travel clothes. So I've got a duvet jacket packed up, lightweight fleece, got some convertible trousers, socks, underwear, a t-shirt and a hanky, and some trainers. It's my turn to carry the stove and pans, etc. So I've got a pan with a lid, gas canister. I've got a remote canister stove. I find these are just so much more stable than getting a stove that fits directly on top of the gas canister. I've got my cup, spork, lighter, windshield, and I've also got a small 1 litre water carrier. This is my toiletries and camp towel. So again, I've tried really hard to cut down on the kind of size and weight of my toiletries. So I've got a travel toothbrush, small travel toothpaste, got a small sample tester of smellies, small tube of face and hand cream, roll-on deodorant, and a small bar of soap. This is my head torch. I've got a head torch and a power bank and the various cables. So I've got a cable for my phone, so I can charge my phone up off the power bank, and I've got a separate cable that allows me to charge my head torch up off my power bank. Okay, how to pack your main kit bag continued. Okay, on the first slide, I've just laid out all the items of equipment that I'm going to pack into my 60 litre main kit bag, and all the individual items I've grouped them up and put them in their own separate lightweight waterproof bag. So I've got my shoes and my clothes, got my duvet jacket, got my tent, sleeping bag, mat, I've got my head torch and power bank, my pans and my stove. I'm also carrying the SUP pump for the group. And I've also got a silk liner for a sleeping bag. So this is good for two reasons. One, it adds a little bit of warmth. And second, if I'm actually borrowing someone else's sleeping bag, then I'm just kind of treating their bag with a little respect, and I'm actually using my liner in their bag. Okay, so I've packed all my bags now, so I've got my 3 bags. So this is my SUP Wheely bag with my spare fin and bungees and roping, and that weighed 2 kilograms. This is my day bag, so it's got my snacks and drinks, etc., first aid kit, and the things that I need to access quickly. That weighs 3.5 kilograms. And I've got my main kit bag, so this has really got my kind of evening clothes and all my camping bits and bobs and the shared equipment that I'm carrying, and that weighed 9.5 kilograms, so that's 15 kilograms in total. Okay, and this is a picture of me, so I'm ready. I'm carrying all my bags, or maybe I'm portaging around a lock. I normally do 2 trips. One trip I normally take all my bags, and then the second trip I go back and carry my board and paddle. Where to place the bags on your board and make secure. Okay, we'll look at both the options that we looked at previously. So this is a front and rear bungees, so it could be a touring board. So we've got a SUP wheel bag at the rear, using the rear bungees. I've got my day bag conveniently so I can grab it, and I've got my main kit bag. So again, to secure the bags, I'll use the actual bungees on the board, but I may also use some additional bungees, the ones with hooks on, or I may use some short lengths of rope as well. And the second one is the front bungee only board. So I've got my day bag, main kit bag, and my SUP wheel bag. And again, I'll use the existing bungees and maybe some additional hook bungees and some extra rope, just to make sure everything's secure. I think the other thing it's just worth bearing in mind is when we're loading up the boards, we're actually changing the trim of the board. So if we take the front bungee option, we've put quite a lot of weight on the front. So where we actually stand, we actually may have to modify where we stand, so maybe actually stand a little bit further back, and that will make sure that we keep the board in perfect trim. The other check that I do is I maybe put my bags on, secure them with the bungees and the rope, etc. And then I do a test with my board. I gently tilt my board on its side and give it a shake, and I just make sure everything is firm and secure, because the last thing we need is when we're maybe launching or landing and our bags are kind of slipping off, becoming unstable, and it actually if it becomes unstable, it can be quite difficult to manage. The other thing that we need to start to think about is protecting our back and being kind to our back. So on the previous slide, the weight of our bags minus the board and the paddle, etc., was about 15 kilograms. So again, we just need to start thinking about our back. So if we started to lift a fully laden board, it's going to weigh approximately 25 kilograms. So we need to be careful. Some people load the board up on the bank and get a friend to help them lift the fully laden board and place it in the water. If you are strong and confident, then this may be an option, provided the bank isn't too slippy. I prefer to position the board so I can easily slide it into the water once loaded, making sure I protect the fin. Sometimes this isn't practical, i.e. the jetty is several feet above the water level and you have to launch the board, climb on board, and then place your bags from the jetty onto the board and secure whilst you're on the water. If you have a friend, then they can pass the bags to you, which makes it much easier. How to change to travel home mode. Okay, so let's assume that we've got to the end of our trip. We've packed our board up, rolled it up, we've changed out of our paddling clothes into the clothes that we're going to travel home. So this is where we're going to take our SUP wheel bag out and transfer most of our equipment into the SUP Wheely bag. So I've got my board rolled up. That's my main kit bag, still full. That's my day bag. That's my SUP Wheely bag. These are my paddling clothes, so wetsuit, buoyancy aid, wet boots, and I've got my paddle here. So I've managed to get my board, paddle, wetsuit, etc., my buoyancy aid, and quite a few of the items out of my main kit bag into my wheelie SUP bag. So here we are, the SUP bags fully loaded and zipped up, and I'm only left with a few items that I can put into my main kit bag. And as this is a rucksack, then it's going to be really easy to carry. Okay, how to change to travel home mode, continue. Okay, so just a couple of pics of me. So this is my wheelie bag and the few items that I've had to put in my rucksack. So yeah, I'm really set. I'm set, and I can head off to the bus or the train station. The other thing that you could do is you could always use this same approach to use public transport to actually get to the start of your trip, and that would definitely boost your eco credentials. Things you can do to ensure your trip goes well. Okay, I know this has been quite a long video. We're almost there. We've only got a couple more slides to do. Okay, absolute number one is be prepared and organized, especially with your bags. Last thing you want to be doing is saying, oh, where's my waterproof trousers? They're in the bottom of my main kit bag. So being prepared and organized is absolutely essential. So maybe we'll just look at a couple of points about being prepared and organized. So we've got the kit list, but maybe you just need to customize it to suit you a little better, but still be sensible about what you take. Definitely have a trial run at packing everything and load it onto your board, and then have a go at packing for traveling home with the SUP Wheely bag. Definitely test out new kit at home before the trip. You don't want to be at the campsite putting up a tent that you've never actually pitched before and it started to rain. Do some paddling without your bag, so yeah, get out on the water and slowly build the mileage up. So if you're going to do 6 miles a day, 10 miles a day, 15 miles a day, be confident that you can actually paddle that distance by doing some practice. The second thing is take something that makes you laugh or feel happy. So a couple of examples would be, yeah, take that fluffy Winnie the Pooh pajamas, or yeah, I've got that Star Wars hot water bottle. I really like that. Just take those things. The third thing that kind of, if you maybe suffer from the cold while sleeping, well, definitely try wearing some socks and a hat. It's definitely guaranteed to give you a cozy night. Make sure you stay hydrated and have plenty of snacks to eat along the way. It's quite easy to get carried away and not stop to have a drink and have something to eat. So make sure you take plenty to drink and take some snacks that you really enjoy eating. Yeah, this is really important. Have a backup plan if things actually don't go to plan. So maybe you don't make it to the campsite, maybe you're feeling ill, is there someone you can actually give a call to and they can actually come and pick you up? Yeah, and the last point, I think this is really important, just try and relax and have an open mind. It really is an adventure. This is an amazing view from the campsite at Linton Locks taken on a recent trip, and it really captures why I like SUP touring. Okay, we've reached the end of the video. I hope you found the video informative, and please get in touch with any questions or improvement suggestions at dave@supantics.co.uk. SUP Antics will be running the Boroughbridge to York 2-day SUP tour in 2022, so please get in touch via the email. So that's dave@supantics.co.uk. Happy paddling.